So the new season of HAHN is back, of Haves and Have-Nots, but it's more so like a continuation. So this is the recap for season 4, episode 12, or if you're looking at your DVR, it says season 3, episode 12, but we know what it really is. My friend Maggie. Yes, Veronica told Maggie, you know what? I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you. And remember the shooter, because the last season ended off, or part 1 ended off with, okay, the shooter's in the house and ready to shoot Veronica. But Veronica tricks Maggie into going into her house herself. And Maggie does get shot. She gets shot and she gets killed. And the policeman actually, he goes and he kills the shooter. So now it's all covered up. For now, it is all covered up. Veronica is thrilled. She's pretending to cower behind a car saying, oh my god, Maggie, my friend, my friend. Oh my god, I hate you, Veronica. I hate you, but I love you at the same time. I hate you. I'm like, Lord Jesus. Oh yeah, by the way, my name is Romie Omni on social media. Please like, comment, subscribe. And after that, we have Candice. Candice is interrogating Jeffrey to no end. Jeffrey is like, look, this is your fault. All of this is your fault. She's just like, how is this my fault? Because remember, Veronica just came from their house, and Veronica knows about the fact that Quincy is now dead. They killed him, and they tried to cover it up. So they're bugging. They're like, how did she know? Did you snitch? No. Did you snitch? Did you tell? Did you tell? And of course, they honestly didn't tell. I can't say they honestly didn't tell. I know Jeffrey told Wyatt something, but it wasn't something to where Wyatt could go and just blah, blah, blah. And even if he did, Wyatt, Wyatt was all drugged up and happy, so he probably doesn't remember a damn thing. We're gonna get to Wyatt in a moment. Candice, Jeffrey's just like, did you tell your brother? Did you tell your crazy ass brother? And she's just like, look, even if I told him that at the end of the day, which of course we know she did tell her brother because her brother's the one who actually helped get rid of the body. Did we forget about that? No, we did not forget about that. So, yes. Benjamin does know, but Benny isn't a snitch. See, Benny is an unintentional snitch. He didn't talk, though. But, because they're not thinking, because they're both trying to figure out, how is it that she knows? And that's when Wyatt breaks down. She's like, this is your fault. I'm like, Wyatt, if I hear that whining crap this second half of the season, if I hear that one more time, you see this hand? Good. Remember it. I don't want to hear that. Stop it. Stop it. No. Because you know what, Wyatt, he goes from like, oh, yeah, what you do? Oh my god. And he did the same thing today because his whole thought process was, it's my mom. Of course she knows. She's a DEA or whatever. She went from one level to the next level to the next level, and she always knew the answer. No one could stop her. She just put stuff together. I'm like, look. You guys aren't really thinking. The better question is, who would actually care that Quincy is gone? That's what Candice should have asked herself. That's what Candice should have asked herself. Who would have actually cared if Quincy were to be gone, if he were to be dead and gone? Because we know that Queenie, found out that her brother was killed. Her brother went to Candice's house and he was never seen from again. That's what really happened. So Queenie went and informed Veronica, and that's why Veronica went over to Candice's house. We know this. They don't know this. I wanted to make sure that you knew this because sometimes, with a show being gone for months at a time, stuff like this slips. But I remembered it right away. I was like, wait a minute. There's something that we're supposed to be remembering that it's not clicking. How did she find out? And it was Queenie. So there you go. And the last scene before the first commercial break was of Wyatt. Wyatt is still, he overdosed. And so right now he's laying dead on the mattress. he is laying dead on the mattress. But I find it interesting because we know Maggie Day is definitely dead, and they made sure to make sure that we knew that. And they're also saying the hotel manager thinks that Wyatt is dead. Do I think that Wyatt died? No. You can absolutely OD. Look, this is because of health class. I know this. You can absolutely OD. Your heart can stop and be started up again because you're more so kind of put in almost a comatose state. And so it's not even necessarily that your heart stopped beating completely or for an extremely long period of time. It may just be a short period of time and then your heartbeat is really low because you are on the verge of dying. So I don't know. I know that they're going to call for help, and I think that's when they're going to realize he's not dead. Or they're probably going to come back into the room and see that he moved and realize he's not dead. Either way, he's not dead. Wyatt is not dead. I don't believe it. And if he is, I don't care. I really don't care. But I feel like it would make for such a weak storyline for him to die like that. Even though that's what we all knew what would happen to his character. Now, we have Jim. Remember the fact that Jim orchestrated this whole plot to make sure that Candice got the money that she needed when she went to the bank. It was like, I need it in a couple of days. I need it in like 2-3 days. And so Candice gets this phone call essentially telling her that her loan's been approved, that they're moving some stuff around and she'll get her money quickly. And I'm like, Candice, for someone who is such a conniving, manipulative person, you never realize when you're being played. That's the funny thing. When she's desperate, she's like everyone else. They don't necessarily realize they're being played. Actually, no. Most people at least know that they're being played. But they just go along with it anyway because they don't have a choice. Her, she, deer in headlights. I'm like, Lord Jesus. Yeah, something distracted me. I don't know if you heard that. But, I'm like, Candice, stop it. And so that's when we see Jim, and he's talking with his lawyer, his bank, because he partially owns the bank, or Miss Cryer, Catherine, partially owns the bank. Anyway, it's all done. Candice will get her money, and Jim's plan is to go and take the money right from under her. How is he going to do that? They're going to put in foreclosure. That way, she gives the money hypothetically to Ward, and she doesn't have anything left. After that happens, Candice now has no money to go and buy back the properties. You know, buy back the 2 houses and the tow yard and whatever else she bought in her car. I think she paid cash for her car, but she won't have the money for insurance. She's going to have to sell that thing. So it's just like, Lord Jesus. I can't even say that I feel bad for Candice because this is what happens when you constantly do wrong. Candice absolutely deserves this because she brought it upon herself. We can't go and start catching feelings for someone who is like a major con artist. We cannot go and do that. So Benny goes and talks with Hannah, with his mom, Hannah, and Benny's just like, you know, come home with me. And Hannah's still on this whole, I can't do it, Benny. I cannot. I can't live in that house. You know that your sister lied. You know that your sister did some conniving stuff in order to get that house. Oh, whoa, what the hell? In order to, there's a bug on the floor. Anyway, in order to achieve what she achieved. And so Hannah's whole thought process is, why in the hell are you trying to sue them? Why are you trying to sue the Cryers? Because at the end of the day, they gave you what was yours. They paid for your medical bills. They took care of me while you were in the hospital. So what's really going on, Benny? And of course, as we know, Benny is on this whole thing of Candice got to him. Candice convinced him that it's a great idea to go and sue. And I'm like, Hannah, I understand where you're coming from, but these people, they went and they almost took your son and wanted you to think that you were delusional and possibly thinking that their son had something to do with it. So let's stop that rhetoric right there. And Benny is seeing dollar signs, but Benny comes to light because Benny was just like, I'm going to do whatever you want me to do, which we already know that's the case. We already know that that is the case with these two. So Benny's just like, I want to sue, but if you don't want me to sue, then I won't sue. Here's the terms and conditions. you're gonna go and you're gonna live with want to have custody of Candice's son, but you don't have a house. You need a house. You need a domicile, and you also need a income. That's the other thing. You don't have income. You don't have the capital. You don't have income. So you do need Benny, Hannah. And so that's when Hannah's like, look, I'll go and live with you if you go and talk to your sister and get custody of your nephew. Because I can't have your nephew living with his mother because his mother is a train wreck. I agree because Candice is still in a lot of BS right now. And we have this messed up situation of... Yeah, so that's what they agree on. Hannah isn't happy about it at the end of the day because she feels like it was still stolen money, which it is. But we have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, it's still coming from the criers. So that's why she's like, the money that you could be suing them for, you already have what you need. You need to go and work hard for it. Your sister has always been the type to go and get hers, but to take it, plot and steal. And I have a feeling Hannah did the same thing when she was younger. I have a feeling Hannah was just like Candy, except for maybe not as good at doing it. Anyway, so we have, after that, we have David who goes and rushes over to Veronica's house because he finally knows where she lives. And so he sees 2 dead bodies and he's just like, my wife! And we're like, David, stop it. Stop it. David, we know you love your wife, but stop it. Because the people were looking at him like he was crazy. The people, you know, giving their statements to the press and all of that, they're looking like, who the hell is this? What is going on? And next we see Mitch. Mitch is, well, attempting to have sex in a back of a pickup truck. I'm like, Mitch, you're such a cliche. Tyler, why'd you write Mitch's character like that? Anyway, so as he was about to go in for the kill, we see War's car pop up, and Mitch is able to see who's in these cars and who's talking. So he sees War, and then he sees Candy, and he's like, what the hell's going on? So Candy goes and talks to War, because remember, Candy actually goes and calls up War and says, I have your money. I have your money. And so that's all War wanted to hear. War didn't hear the rest. So War is pissed when he came down there, and Candice just like, I have your money. I got the funding necessary. I'll have it in 2 days. He thought that she had it right then and there, even though he knew there was no way she was able to actually get the money. So that's where I'm thinking, okay, War, stop playing games. War's just like, look, you lied to me. You told me that you got a certain amount, and you only gave me 100,000 of your 400,000 instead of it actually being 7.4 million. Do you see why I feel like I'm played? Do you see how you hurt me? And you spent most of the money, and now I want a cool milli, and you can't do that. How, Candice, let's think about this. How in the hell do you go to the bank one day, and then 2-3 days later, they go and tell you, oh yes, you've been approved, and in 2 days you'll have the rest of your money. Smurf? I'm like, what? In what world does that make sense? In what world does that make sense where you go and you talk with them and they tell you they can't do that because there's so much legal stuff, and banks move money around, so they probably don't even have that amount in the bank to, they have to make sure they secure it without messing with other people's funds. That's how it works. As soon as your money goes into a bank, it's not your money anymore. They are liable for it up to a certain amount, but they move it around, and technically it goes into this account, that account, and then they put someone else's money for the exact correct amount into your account. But that's also like, Candy, think about this. This doesn't make sense. Double check. Where's Erica? Where's Erica? I want Erica back. Is Erica taking care of your baby? Like, what's going on here? Where's your baby? Oh, maybe she is with Erica. But, maybe he's with Erica. But Candy's just like, look, I know I'm not playing games. I know I hurt you, all this stuff. And he was just like, you know. Well, guess what? You also know that your brother's in danger. You know, Benny and you, like family to me. When we grew up like family. I love you guys, but I will hurt you in a second because you crossed me. You crossed me. And I'm like, War, are you auditioning to be someone's new pimp movie? I can see War playing a pimp character in real life. He was just like, I respect you too much to treat you like one of these hoes. I respect you so much, too much to be treating you like one of these hoes. How dare you make me treat you like one of these hoes? I'm like, okay, War's starting to sound like an abuser. War definitely sounds like an abuser. He was just like, you know, I love my father too, but we all know what I did to him. We all know what I'm like, oh, okay. Now, did he say his father or did he say that girl, that, Erica's sister? Which I think he said his father. But anyway, I mean, he was just like, you're going to get me the money. You're not going to die as long as you get me the money. She was like, I know, this is why I had to talk to you. Because at the end of the day, if I didn't talk to you, then you probably will have went and sped up the process and had everything in order to get me killed. So he was just like, why are you wearing that dress anyway? Why are you wearing that dress? She did that on purpose. So like, yeah, of course she did that on purpose. But she was just like, you really want to be treated like one of these hoes? Okay. So he goes and he pushes up against the gate, the metal gate, and he rapes her. I know it probably didn't come off necessarily as rape because it's Candy and you're thinking maybe she's trying to distract him even though she doesn't want to have sex with him. But that was definitely rape. At the end of the day, she didn't want it. I'm like, Lord, why does Candice seem like this has happened multiple times? And Mitch is watching the whole time, mind you. And Candy actually sees Mitch watching the whole thing. And my whole thing was, Mitch has all this bravado, has all these muscles. As soon as he sees War and Candy in trouble, he can't do anything. He can't man up. He can't. I'm like, because Mitch was hiding the whole time. Because he's afraid of War. Like everyone else, he's afraid of War. That's the real truth. I'm like, Lord Jesus. But you know what? That's the only reason why it's okay is because this battle is a long-term battle. And she's going to need someone like him on her side eventually. So even though he didn't help her out this time, maybe next time. Maybe he says something that will aid her in the future. But I'm just like, this is messed up. You literally just watched someone pretty much get raped. Not pretty much, get raped. And you didn't do it. But you're... Okay. Okay. So Jeffrey's over. Jeffrey's at the bar. And Jeffrey... these girls, it's probably like after 5, these girls are just enjoying themselves. These women came off of work, maybe on the business trip, and so they're talking, they're socializing, and one sees Jeffrey and is like, ooh, look at him, and so she tries to go and hit on him. Now, mind you, Jeffrey is over it. Jeffrey is so irritated and over it that he goes just like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. Now, Jeffrey isn't really feeling women right now. Not just because he's gay, but because all the women in his life have caused him hell. So he is over it. He's just like, look, I told you to leave me alone. I told you to leave me alone. Do not come near me. Can you go? And she was just like, she threw a drink in his face, like, what the hell's wrong with you? And he was just like, bitch, are you crazy? It's like, are you crazy? Are you crazy, bitch? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get your ass. So I was like, Jeffrey. I was like, Jeffrey. But then I had to remember that this is Jeffrey we're talking about. So he's doing this because he's in a mood. He's doing this because he's in a mood. It's not because he's really about this life. So the staff comes over and they're like, look, you have to go and do something about this because this guy is treating me a certain way. And our friends were like, you don't have to talk to her like that. And the staff is just like, no, Mr. Harrington, we are so sorry. Yes, money transcends everything. Because even though Jeffrey is a big black man and he just yelled at this smaller white woman, that dollar, that almighty dollar isn't small. And his family has brought a lot of business to that hotel. So they've just pretty much pretended like it never happened. And one of the other women who were with the one that he originally case. So the judge is just like, oh my gosh, I'm not even supposed to have any type of contact with you. So please just pretend like this didn't happen. And I kind of forgot that that's how it goes. So with the faster than this, you know what transitions next? Her husband comes in. Her husband is the white cop that molested Jeffrey. I know, small world. Small world. We knew he was married because he told that to Candice. But Jeffrey didn't know. And so he was just like, what are you doing talking to my wife? And he was just like, because she was just like, apologize to me. I'm like, apologize to him? I guess legally, but whatever. And so he's just like, what are you doing talking to my wife? Jeffrey was like, 6570309. Come to that room. I'll see you in 15 minutes. I'm like, what? I know Jeffrey's a little distraught, but this was completely out of character. So we're back at Candice's house, and of course, what's his name? Benny's outside. Benny wants to talk to her, and here's how their conversation goes in a nutshell. Benny wants to know, how'd you get the money, Candice? Candice is just like, no, I didn't blackmail him. I'll show you what I actually did. She was just like, you know, Mr. Cryer, he loves that freaky stuff. He loves to be in chains, and he loves to be whipped, and he loves menages and all this stuff. And, you know, I'm his girl. I complete his fantasy. I do it. I do it. I do it. And Benny's disgusted. Benny's like, Lord Jesus, I don't want to hear about this sick crap. Go somewhere with this. And Candice is just like, so Benny, why else are you here? I want you to apologize to my... No. I mean, I want you to give me custody of your son. She was like, no, it's not going to happen. He's like, where is my nephew? It's not going to happen. Giving him to you is like giving him to her. So that's not going to happen. Do you hear me? So that went nowhere. Another conversation sparked up was, Candice said, you know, so I heard a nasty little rumor that you actually... Oh yeah, and before all of that, Candice thought that Mitch possibly went and snitched to Benny. So she brought up Mitch, and Benny was just like, what the hell? Is that who you're with? Like, what's going on? She was just like, no, my bad. And so the resolution was, Candice flipped it and said, I heard a nasty rumor that you had contact with Veronica Harrington. Disgusting. I'm disgusted. I'm like, Candice, are we really gonna... Candy cane. Are we really... Okay, we're gonna play that game. But, you know, Benny got up and ran out as soon as he possibly could. And she was just like, okay, bye. Because Benny also said, you know, I'm not going to sue them. And Candice needs that to happen because Candice is thinking in her mind, you know, I'm mortgaging all of our properties. And with you suing them, that will pay everything off. But, yeah, so now we have Wyatt. We have Jeffrey who's talking to, you know, the molester cop officer. And Jeffrey is like, do you want a drink? He's like, no. Well, you're probably going to want a drink after I talk. So the officer's just like, why the hell were you talking to my wife? What are you trying to do? What did you say? Now, of course, when you say things like that, that automatically means, okay, there was something to be said. That's the main issue. The fact that there was something to be said, this officer is bugging out. So he's thinking that maybe if he can try to strong-arm Jeffrey into staying quiet, everything will be good. He doesn't realize that Jeffrey doesn't want him. Jeffrey's just trying to show him that he does actually have some type of power, some type of control over this man. This is Jeffrey's moment to try and at least gain back control of his life in one area. And it's with this guy who technically violated him, made him feel uncomfortable, made him feel less than. because he can't do it with his mom. He can't do it with the girl that allegedly has his baby, and he can't. Well, she does, Melissa, and he can't do it with Candice. So he can do it with this guy because Jeffrey's also because Wyatt's also out of the question. So now we're thinking to ourselves, all right, Lord Jesus, if they, I was like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want. Say a little bit farther from each other. I don't want to see it. No, no, no. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. Especially knowing what he technically did to Jeffrey. I'm like, Jeffrey, if you go off and you go and try to, you know what I'm trying to. No. Nope. So thankfully, Jeffrey was just trying to mess with the guy. He was trying to mess with the guy, and it's pretty much leaving it open-ended. Like, so Jeffrey needs this guy's help. That's the other thing. That's the real reason why he went and willingly, not, I wouldn't say try to seduce. I will say try to try to test this guy and to see how serious he is as far as his overall curiosity or infatuation with him. And it's strong enough to where Jeffrey thinks that he can use him. And clearly the fact that he's married to the woman who's in the case of the Criers and the Harringtons, clearly Jeffrey's thinking, okay, maybe I can go and use him to finally deal with my mother. We know what he's thinking. I'm like, Jeffrey, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We know it's not going to work. Why? Not just because it's your mother, it's because you're trying to use someone else to fight your battles again. This is not how life is really, it's not what it's made of. You have to be able to fight your own battles. And Jeffrey, thus far, hasn't been able to fully fight his own battles. But as I said, this whole scene was about Jeffrey standing up to the guy. Well, first tricking the guy and then telling the guy how he really feels about it. It's like, you are disgusting. You are a creep with a badge. You have terrible aftershave. And you even have to manscape. And I'm thinking to him, I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, oh yeah, Jeffrey did go and grope the guy in their last encounter to see how serious he was. So, I mean, when that officer put his hand on that gun, I thought, okay, he's done this before. This is just a tactic. He's not going to attack Jeffrey. He's still too curious. Even with the possibility, think about this, even with the possibility of the officer being found out, the officer still went to Jeffrey, knowing that Jeffrey at least had some type of conversation with his wife. Lord, that man is confused. That man truly is confused. And in the last scene, we have David. David goes back to the police, goes back to jail because he needs to go and talk with Jim. So he goes and pays off the guard. And I'm like, damn, is this how this really works? You go and you have some money and some clout and you pretty much are able to do whatever you want? I don't think I actually want those problems because it is way too much. But, what? No, I almost forgot. That fight scene between Jim and David? At first, David goes charging into the cell, and Jim was ready because Jim was like, why the hell did this guy leave the cell open? So David tries to pound on Jim, but Jim flips David and starts being... I'm like, David, get your butt, get up, get up, get up, David, get up, get up. Go. You better get up. You better get your ass up now. David, get up. So of course he gets up and he starts beating Jim. He starts beating Jim and then Jim's on the floor and then he's kicking Jim. I'm like, yes, kick him again. Kick him a couple more times. And so I was like, David, you finally got to win. It took you, what, 4 damn seasons? You finally got to win. I mean, the real win. But that was it. So, I'm so happy this show is back. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm also going to be reviewing Greenleaf, so watch out for that review as well. And amongst the other stuff I do with Summer TV, Wayward Pines, I will be reviewing Big Brother, Marriage Boot Camp, Reality Star. Yeah. Preacher. I'm going to pick up Preacher as well. The show Preacher on AMC. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week.